Hey everybody, ronarray here, and 0.4 is upon us. Initial announcement is coming pretty soon, exciting as it is, and before it hits, I wanted to talk a little about what I expect to be there, and what I would like to be there as well. Let me know in the comments which changes you want to see in 0.4 yourself, and let's go talk about it. So first and the easiest prediction is pretty much the Druid. The Druid is been announced some time ago and it's going to be the main topic of the whole 0.4 expansion, so we definitely expect the Druid as a class. However, it's been a very long wait until the Druid hits, and I'm pretty happy to see the new class in the game because I hope that it will bring a lot of mechanical changes together with it, because it seems that Druid is going to be a shapeshifter, so I expect more shapeshifting options that you will be able to use both for the Druid and other classes as well. If it's going to be powerful enough, I think it's going to be popular as an option for such classes as Warrior or Monk, for example, because both of them could stack pretty well with like melee things that Druid shapeshifting can provide. So I believe the Druid in the current situation can change the meta pretty heavily. My only fear here is that Druid could be a little too underpowered, especially some particular skills, and that way, even if the Ascendancy itself is going to be strong, if shapeshifting not going to be strong enough, people will just play the Druid with like bows, for example, or with quarterstaff skills from Monk, because it could lead to better situation. We will need to see how exactly those shapeshifting skills are going to be implemented, and right now it's very hard to predict exactly how it will go. However, I expect that at least some of the shapeshifting skills will be viable, and shapeshifting Druid is going to be pretty popular just because of the whole topic and how Druid feels and looks. And the second point is pretty much very basic as well, because GG been talking about that for a very long time. It's Endgame Revamp. And I really hope that Endgame Revamp will lower the Delirium role in the endgame farming. Because right now you will need to use Delirium on practically all waystones in the endgame, so you will need to constantly spam it, which is definitely feels not that comfortable. And I really hope that after Endgame Revamp we will have at least a few different options, the same way as we have in Path of Exile 1, and we will be able to farm endgame without relying so hard on Delirium, because Delirium is not the most comfortable mechanic. And a lot of people also ask GG to give us a toggle so we can off the fog that Delirium is coming with. And I think it could be a pretty nice solution as well. However, the perfect decision here, and the way that I hope GG will take, is providing different options how we can buff maps without relying on Delirium only. So maybe some other mechanics which will not stack together with Delirium, and you will be able to choose what you want to run in your maps. Because I personally would probably go for pretty far just not to run Delirium all the time. And the next point is pretty much expected too, but it's still not 1000% confirmed. It's Abyss going core, and especially the crafting for Abyss. I think Abyss made the game much more fun because it added a lot of mechanics both for farming and for crafting, especially for crafting. It made crafting much easier and much more deterministic. And I think, at least partially, that mechanic should absolutely go core, because losing it completely for Path of Exile 2 will make the game significantly more shallow. And I believe that the game currently needs much more depth, and adding Abyss to the core is probably a correct decision, at least in my opinion. And it's also leading us to the next point, which is craft nerfs and craft changes. I believe the craft in 0.3 been very easy, and a lot of people relied on that to get their gear, and it's not a bad thing. However, I believe that craft at some points been very overpowered, considering how easy it is to craft with deterministic things that Abyss is providing. Since Abyss is not going to be in every map anymore, I think just that idea is going to nerf craft overall. But probably GG could balance it a little, maybe make some particular currency a little more rare, some particular currency a little less rare, to change how exactly we interact with this. And I definitely expect at least some changes to crafts, even if it's not going to be a direct set of nerfs. And the next point is pretty much just wishful thinking, but I really hope it will become true in the announcement. So it's another additional Ascendancy or even a second class. As you remember, when GG before did like an Amazon, they also added just an option for Reach, which is like a leech option. And I believe that that time, since they're adding Druid, it could be the same. It could be Shadow, Templar, or maybe new Monk Ascendancy even, since we only have 2. And getting like the last Monk Ascendancy is exciting me a lot, since I've been a Monk player for a pretty long time, and I think it would be very fun to have +1. So I believe that at least some additional changes to those Ascendancies and buffs for some, or +1 definitely is expected, and it will be a very nice Christmas surprise from GG. And the next point is like more campaign changes, improvements, or maybe even additional chapters. Since campaign is still not completely finished, I think GG will keep working on it, and I definitely expect at least some changes. Maybe just expecting a chapter is a little wishful thinking again, but I think getting more stuff in the campaign would be very nice, like getting additional act would be cool, but at least additional zones or small changes here and there, or maybe quality of life improvements even, is expected too, and I think it can make the whole experience of all of us running through campaign better. And the next point is completely in the wishful thinking category as well, but I would be very happy if it would happen. So, another skill set added on top of the Druid, for example like sword skills, which we've been anticipating for a very long time. Unfortunately, we still don't have sword skills in the game, which is pretty ridiculous since it's been like a year after like start of just an early access. And I believe sword skills would be very nice for people to play around. We can get things like Cyclone, for example, which would be very exciting. And if not sword skills, maybe some other kind of set skills that GG already worked on, except obvious set of Druid ones, because I think that's going to be there 1000%. And the next step is more trial options. So initially GG been talking about adding more trial options instead of just 2 Sikamas and Trial of Chaos that we currently have, or maybe some additional depth, especially for Chaos Trial. I believe that Sikamas is pretty much popular already for farming, and there's a lot of options how to run it, there are like some farming strategies with it, and I think it's in a pretty good position. However, Trial of Chaos been falling off in 0.3 significantly, because there have been a lot of additional items added to the pool, which has diluted it significantly, and it's much harder to farm it. There's also not a lot of options how you can run it, because it's pretty basic, and I think adding more depth to it would be a very good thing. Also, adding more trial options, like Third Trial for example, would be pretty nice as well, and since GG were talking about that, I think it could be a very nice part of the new endgame too, if they will have enough time to do that. And the next step is the part of the things that GG already talked about and I think could be improved. So more uber bosses and like harder bosses in general. I believe since GG is doing Endgame Revamp, improving bosses and maybe adding new uber boss, like for example Abyss boss could go uber, could be a nice way to give us a little more things to do in the endgame, more bosses to farm, and maybe even add like some unique loot in there, together with some items that could be really build enabling. I think all of that together should be a goal for a game in general, because like PoE 1 for example has a lot of uber bosses with a lot of nice loot. So I believe some improvements in that field is very good for Path of Exile 2 as well, and looking forward to at least see an Abyss boss to become an Uber, or maybe a new Uber altogether would be very good, if not that league, that in the future for sure. And the last point is pretty much rebalancing the skills, but not just rebalancing in general. I believe that right now Lightning been significantly stronger than both ice and fire comparable, especially the fire, which had a huge lack of builds. Because right now, the main things that people are playing with fire is just like fireball and grenades, because almost everything else is not that viable, especially comparing to lightning skills. So it would be very good as like wind skills for monk or fire skills for other classes would be improved and buffed in general to literally catch up to lightning skills which are dominating the meta right now. So rebalancing the elements would be a nice surprise as well, and I really hope if it will not happen in 0.4 because it will be more focused on the Druid, it will happen later on in 0.5 or maybe closer to the release as well. So that's been my list of things that I like to see, and that some of them are definitely going to be announced soon, and I hope I will get at least a few of those points in. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see in both 0.4 and in the next updates too. And what in your opinion Path of Exile 2 currently lack. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon. ronarray out.